Hello everybody. Welcome to Shake Hand with Life YouTube channel. Here on this channel you can watch variety of videos and build up your engineering and management skills. And if you are new on this channel, then please subscribe the channel and then press the bell icon, so whenever there is a new video uploaded on this channel, you may get the notifications about the new video uploaded on this channel. I am Narendra Sharma, and in this video series of ISO 9001-2015 Quality Management System requirements, I am going to start the clause number 8, which describes about the operation, different kind of operations in a manufacturing or service delivery organization. And in this particular video, I am going to discuss about the clause number 8.1, which describes the operational planning and control, and the clause number 8.2, which describes the requirements for products and services. So here we start. First, take a look over the clause 8. This clause is you can say that the combination of all clauses from the beginning of clause number 4, context of the organization, to the continual improvement, clause number 10 of ISO 9001-2015. And this clause is the longest clause from rest of the clauses in the ISO 9001-2015. And this clause has 7 sub-clauses. Clause 8.1 is operational planning and control, which I am going to discuss in this video. Clause 8.2, requirements for products and services. This also I am going to discuss in this video. And clause number 8.3, design and development of products and services. Clause 8.4, control of externally provided processes, products and services. Clause 8.5, production and service provision. Clause 8.6, release of products and services. Clause 8.7, the last one is control of non-conforming inputs. All these clauses I will discuss in my subsequent videos, but in this video I am going to discuss the first 2 clauses, 8.1 and 8.2. Now starting with the clause 8.1, which is operational planning and control. The organization shall plan, implement and control the processes. This also described in the clause number 4.4, quality management system and processes. The clause 4 is about the context of the organization. The organization has to understand the context in which environment it is going to be work, and what type of customer and what type of products and services it has to deliver. Needed to meet the requirements for the provision of products and services, and to implement the actions determined in clause 6, such as what type of action it has to determine. It needs to address the risks and opportunities and achieve the quality objectives and planning the changes. The changes which are required in the processes to improve the quality of the process of manufacturing of a product or delivery process of a service. Now, what this clause is saying? This clause is saying the organization shall plan, implement and control the processes, and for that the organization determine the requirements for the products and services. So the organization to plan and implement and control the different kind of processes through which it is going to be manufacture a product or deliver a service, it has to determine what kind of requirements are there it has to decide the requirements on the basis of the products and services. And B says it needs to establish the criteria for the processes through which the product, what type of processes is required to manufacture a product or to deliver a service, and how would the organization accept the product or services which is going to be manufactured through a particular process of a manufacturing of a product or service delivery process. So the organization has to establish the criteria of the processes and acceptance criteria of a product and services. And the 8.1c says determining the resources needed to achieve conformity to the product and services requirement. And what kind of resources the organization required to achieve the conformity of the product and services. And D says implementing control of processes in accordance with the criteria. On the basis of the criteria of the processes set up for manufacturing a product or to deliver a service and acceptance criteria for the product and services, the organization has to implement some control for the processes, and what type of controls are there, the organization has to decide what type of controls are there, such as the control plans, data collection plan, and when to inspect the products. These things need to be established for in accordance with the criteria. And the clause E says determining, maintaining and retaining documented information to the extent necessary. And for the operation planning and control, the organization has to maintain and retain the documented information. Why? To have confidence that the processes have been carried out as planned. The processes are actually have been carried out as the organization planned. So for this, the data collection plan are there, the documents or records should be there for the data collection, and it also demonstrates the conformity of the products and services to their requirements. When in a process, when data is collected for the manufacturing product or delivery service, then it confirms that it shows that the conformity of the product and services is going to be met. The output of this planning shall be suitable for the organization's operations. The organization shall control plan changes and review the consequences of unintended changes, taking action to mitigate any adverse effects as necessary. The organization also control the plan changes which it has planned that this kind of changes must be introduced in the processes, and some of the changes are unintended, and for that unintended changes the organization has to review the consequences and accordingly take the actions to mitigate the adverse effects. And the organization shall ensure that outsourced processes are also controlled. Some of the processes are outsourced, and for that the organization ensure that these outsourced processes are also controlled. Now come to the clause number 8.2. This is requirements for products and services. This further divided into 4 subclauses. Clause 8.2.1 is for customer communication. Clause 8.2.2 is for determining the requirements for products and services. And clause 8.2.3 is for review of the requirements for products and services. This further divided into 2 subclauses, 8.2.3.1 and 8.2.3.2. And the last one is 8.2.4, which is changes to requirements for products and services on the basis of review of the requirements of the products and services. Now first, clause 8.2.1, it is about the customer communication. To establish the communication with the customer shall include what types of communication the organization has to establish. It has to gather all types of information regarding the products and services. The organization has to gather all types of information. What type of products is required by the customer, what type of services required by the customer, the delivery time and the specifications, and some special conditions are there if the desired by the customer, then that should be mentioned in the contract. B says handling inquiries, contract or orders including changes. This includes the inquiries from the customers, contract or orders which given by the customer, and if there are some changes given by the customer, then that must be included in the contract or order given by the customer. C says obtaining customer feedback relating to products and services including customer complaints. The organization also consider the customer feedback regarding its products and services, and if there are some previous complaints, the organization also consider these complaints. D says handling or controlling customer property. If some of the design given by the customer, design specifications or such type of specifications or property given by the customer, that must be handled properly by the organization or controlled in a proper way. E says establishing specific requirements for contingency actions when relevant. There are some specific requirements. Some are customer specific requirements, but all requirements are not given by the customer. So some specific requirements are some statutory requirements, some regulatory requirements are there, and some special conditions are there. Some are known requirements, some are unknown requirements. On the basis of that, some unknown requirements which customer has not given, but these requirements are being considered by the organization to take some contingency actions and whenever required. Now come to the clause number 8.2.2. Clause 8.2.2 says determining the requirements for products and services. How the requirements of products and services are determined. When determining the requirements for products and services to be offered to customers, the organization shall ensure that A. The requirements for the products and services are defined before given any kind of commitment that the organization can capable to deliver or provide the product or services to the customer. The organization must define the requirements, and these requirements must be based on the, if there are there are applicable statutory or regulatory requirements. On the basis of that, the requirements must be defined and consider the necessary by the organization, and what type of resources are required to manufacture a product or to deliver a service. On the basis of that, the type of competency of people required and the number of human resource are required. On the basis of that, the requirements must be defined by the organization. And the B says the organization can meet the claims for the products and services it offers. And on the basis of the requirements, after defining the requirements, what type of requirements are there to manufacture a product or to deliver a service, then the organization the organization can able to meet the claim after ascertaining or defining all types of requirements. Then the organization claim that it can able to provide the product and services to the customer. Now come to the clause number 8.2.3. This is about the review of the requirements for products and services. Now When the organization defined all the types of requirements, now it is the time of review of these requirements, and these requirements can be reviewed by these two clauses, two sub-clauses 8.2.3.1 and 8.2.3.2. Now, what 8.2.3.1 says? It says the organization shall ensure that it has ability to meet requirements for products and services to be offered to customer. The organization shall conduct a review before committing to supply products and services to be customer, and that includes the organization ensure that it can be capable to provide the product and services which has commit by the organization or offered by the organization to the customer, and this can be decided on the basis of a requirement specified by the customer, including the requirements for delivery and post delivery activities. The organization consider the requirements which given by the customer, such as the delivery time requirement, how the product or service will be delivered to the customer, and what are the post delivery services such as the on-site services, or you can say the warranty claims, or such as the installation. These type of services, these types of requirements must be considered by the organization. B says the requirements not stated by the customer but necessary for the specified or intended use when known. Some of the requirements not stated by the customer, such as these requirements may be the regulatory or statutory requirements, and these need to be followed by the organization to manufacture a product or to deliver a service. These requirements may or may not be known by the customer. C says requirements specified by the organization. These requirements are these requirements specified by the organization which is going to manufacture a product or services. These requirements may be the number of people required to complete the project, and the competency of among the people to manufacture a product or to deliver a service, what type of people are going to work on the processes. So these type of requirements are there, and what type of how the data will be collected in the process. D says statutory and regulatory requirements applicable to the product and services. This also must be considered by the organization, what type of statutory or regulatory requirements need to be considered by the organization. E says contract or order requirements differing from those previously expressed. And here in this clause, the organization reconsider the contract. If there are some changes in the contract, then it has to review these changes, whether the organization is capable to address these changes or fulfill the changes according to customer requirements. The organization shall ensure that contract or order requirements differing from those previously defined are resolved. These changes must be resolved. The customer's requirements shall be confirmed by the organization before acceptance when the customer does not provide a documented statement of their requirements. Before making any commitment to the customer, the organization must consider that whether it is able to fulfill the demands of the customer before making any commitment. So the organization has to consider all the factors before committing to the customer that it can able to deliver it can able to manufacture a product and deliver to the customer. There is a note: in some situations such as internet sales, a formal review is impractical for each order. Instead, the review can cover relevant product information such as catalog. So if in case of internet sales, there is a catalog required because it is not practical to review for each order. Now come to the clause 8.2.3.2. This clause says the organization shall retain documented information as applicable on the results of the review, and B says on any requirements for the product and services. This clause is basically about the documented information. The organization has to retain the documented information. The reviewed after reviewing the customer requirements, the organization requirements, statutory and regulatory requirements, all types of documented information must be retained by the organization and propagate among the organization if necessary. And if there is a changes in the products or service requirement, new requirements are there that must be incorporated in the contract or the order of the customer, or as a documented information that should be put into the contract, that this kind of changes being required by the customer. Now come to the clause number 8.2.4. Changes to requirements for products and services. The organization shall ensure that relevant documented information is amended and the relevant persons are made aware of the changed requirements when the requirements for product and services are changed. The organization ensure that all the review process have been done. A review process has been done, and all the requirements are reviewed, and the documented information are retained, and these relevant documented information are amended according if there were changes given by the customer in his order or in contract, then these changes are tagged in the contract or amended as a documented information, and these documented information must be given into the knowledge of the relevant persons who are authorized to make changes in the documented information related to the product and services. Now, this was the clause number 8.1 and 8.2 of the clause 8 of ISO 9001:2015. Now, test your learning. Write down the answers of these two questions in comment box. Also write the feedback, how do you like this video, in comment box. The first question is which clause describes the establishing of criteria for the processes and the acceptance for products and services? And the question number 2 is which clause describes handling inquiries, contracts or orders, including changes while communication with the customers? I hope you like this video, and if you like this video, then don't forget to press the like button and share this video among your friends and colleagues. And don't forget to subscribe Shake Hand with Life YouTube channel and then press the bell icon, so whenever there is a new video uploaded on, get the notifications about the new video upload. Thanks for staying with me. Have a nice day. See you in my next video of ISO 9001:2015 Quality Management System requirements. Thank you.